My name is Sarah Thompson. I'm 55 years old, and one night changed everything. That night, I discovered a painful truth. You can spend 30 years raising a son, only to lose him in 30 seconds. It began with a phone call. Michael's voice sounded distant, detached, but I refused to acknowledge it. He mentioned he was celebrating my grandson Sam's 6th birthday. Of course I would go. It meant a 12-hour bus ride from Chicago to Miami, but this was my grandson, my own flesh and blood. Before leaving, I picked up the framed photograph that had lived on my mantel for years. Michael at 6, wearing the same expression Sam is now, those wide eyes and mischievous grin. I tucked it carefully into my suitcase alongside the gift I'd wrapped with such care, a photo album I'd spent months creating, filled with our family story. 12 hours on that bus. 12 hours imagining my grandson's embrace, picturing Michael's face when I arrived. I reached his house at 7 in the evening. Blue and silver balloons decorated the entrance. Children's laughter echoed from inside. My heart raced as I rang the doorbell. Michael answered. He didn't smile. "Mom, what are you doing here?" 5 words. They sliced through me like broken glass. But I smiled anyway, because that's what mothers do when something hurts. "I came for my grandson's birthday," I said brightly. Before I could continue, I heard the sharp click of heels on hardwood. Vanessa, my daughter-in-law, appeared with her arms crossed and fury blazing in her eyes. "Michael, did you tell your mother to come?" Her voice rose with each word. "This is unbelievable. Either she leaves, or I do. I will not share my house with this woman." The children inside fell silent. My son looked at me. I looked back at him. In that moment, I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Fear. Not fear of losing me. Fear of losing her. "Nom." His voice trembled. "Maybe it's better if you go." The world stopped spinning. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I simply clutched my suitcase, where that photograph and undelivered album lay hidden. "It's all right, son," I said with a calmness I didn't feel. "I'll go." I walked toward the street. Behind me, I heard the door close with finality. I didn't look back. That night, I stayed in a motel near the bus station and cried every tear I'd held back. But something shifted inside me. Something broke. And something else began to awaken. A week later, my phone shattered the silence at 2 in the morning. "Mom? Mom, are you there?" Michael's voice cracked with desperation. "Yes, son. I'm here. Mom, I need your help. It's urgent. I need $50,000. It's life or death." I sat in silence. $50,000. Half my life savings from 3 decades of teaching. "What do you need it for?" I asked carefully. "I can't explain right now. Just please, you've always been there for me. This time too, right?" I closed my eyes. I saw his face at that door. I heard his words. "Maybe it's better if you go." Then I said 5 words. Just 5 words that would change everything. But let me tell you what led to this moment first. I've loved Michael since before he was born. When I was 25 and 7 months pregnant, my husband David left me. He disappeared one October morning with a younger woman, abandoning me with a swollen belly and a shattered heart. I never told Michael about his father. I didn't want him carrying that pain. I raised him alone, working double shifts, teaching elementary school in the mornings, tutoring in the afternoons. Michael became my entire world. I remember those mornings in our small Chicago apartment. I'd brew coffee and bake sweet bread while he thundered down the stairs, backpack on backwards, perpetually running late. I braided his hair when he was small. I bandaged his scraped knees. I held him through nightmares. "Mom, you're never going to leave, right?" he asked once at 8 years old. "Never, my love. Mothers never leave." Sundays, we went to the market together. He'd carry bags bigger than himself, helping me choose the ripest tomatoes. Afterward, we'd sit in the park sharing ice cream, vanilla for him, strawberry for me. That photograph I brought to Miami, I took it on one of those Sundays. Michael was 6, grinning to show the gap where his tooth had fallen out, standing beneath the great oak tree in the park. "Mom, when I grow up, I'm going to buy you a huge house, so you never have to work so hard," he told me that day. I treasure that promise like gold. I watched him grow into a good, responsible man. He studied business administration, landed a solid job in Miami. I was so proud. He met Vanessa at a business conference. Initially, she was charming, called me mom, sent photos of my newborn grandson. But something shifted after their first anniversary. The calls grew shorter. Visits were canceled. Michael always had excuses. Work overload, Vanessa feeling unwell, the baby sick. I stayed quiet. A mother knows when to hold her tongue. But that night at his door, when he asked me to leave after my 12-hour journey, when he chose Vanessa over me, something shattered inside me. It wasn't just humiliation. It was a realization that the boy who carried my grocery bags, who promised me a big house, who clung to me during nightmares, he no longer existed. In his place stood a man who had shut the door in my face. Looking back now, the first crack appeared much earlier, so subtle I nearly missed it. It was at Michael and Vanessa's wedding 7 years ago. I'd saved for 2 years to help with their ceremony. It wasn't much, but it was everything I had. $20,000 in a yellow envelope hidden in my closet. 3 months before the wedding, I gave it to Michael. Son, this is for you and Vanessa. Start your life together right. He hugged me. He cried. He called me the best mother in the world. But on the wedding day, something strange happened. Vanessa had orchestrated everything. The venue, flowers, music. It was beautiful, I'll admit. But when the ceremony began, I found myself seated in the third row. The third row. The mother of the groom in the third row. Vanessa's parents, Robert and Linda, sat in the first row in their elegant attire with perfect smiles. The second row held the wedding party. And me in the back. Michael said nothing. Neither did I. During the reception, Vanessa introduced me to her friends. This is Sarah, Michael's mom. She works at a little school in Chicago. A little school, as if my 30-year career meant nothing. But what hurt most was the dance. Traditionally, the groom dances with his mother first, but Vanessa insisted on modernizing the order. Michael danced with her first, then with Vanessa's mother, and finally, with me, 2 minutes. We danced for exactly 2 minutes. Mom, you look beautiful, he said as we turned. Thank you, son. Vanessa wanted everything modern, less traditional. It's okay, son. It's your day. I lied. It wasn't okay. But mothers learn to smile even when their hearts are breaking. After the wedding, everything accelerated. Michael called less frequently. When I called him, he was always busy. Vanessa was always there in the background, saying things I couldn't quite hear. When Sam was born, I traveled to Miami to meet him. I stayed only 3 days. Vanessa made it clear my help wasn't needed. Sarah, I have everything under control. Besides, my mother's coming tomorrow. Vanessa's mother stayed 3 weeks. On Sam's first birthday, they threw a big party. I brought a teddy bear I'd hand-knitted over months. Vanessa received it with a cold smile. How nice, Sarah. We'll put away. I never saw Sam with that bear. Christmases became negotiations. Mom, this year we're going to beach with Vanessa's family. Mom, Sam's too young to travel. Mom, maybe next year. Next year never came. Gradually, my son drifted away, not with cruelty or shouting. He simply faded from my life like smoke. And I let it happen, believing that if I stayed quiet, if I didn't complain or become a burden, he would return. He didn't return until that night of Sam's birthday, when I decided I'd waited long enough. When I bought that bus ticket, packed my savings, and traveled 12 hours to see my grandson, and my son shut the door in my face. That week after returning to Chicago, I cried. I cried for all the years I'd remained silent, for all the times I'd swallowed my pain to avoid being inconvenient, for believing my silence would purchase his love. Then came that 2 a.m. call. $50,000. Mom, you've always been there for me. This time too, right? I stared at my bedroom ceiling, thinking about the third row at his wedding, the teddy bear my grandson never used, the lonely Christmases, that door slamming in my face. How long? I wondered. How long must a mother give without receiving anything in return? How long must she stay silent while being treated as if she doesn't matter? I took a deep breath. Then I said those 5 words. I need to be honest. I wasn't a perfect mother, but I was a mother who loved too much. And that was my mistake. After that wedding, when I saw the signs of losing my son, I tried everything to get him back. Every attempt only pulled me deeper. I called Michael every Sunday. If he didn't answer, I waited. If he answered and sounded irritated, I cut the conversation short. I learned to measure my words, never asking too much, never demanding anything. How's my grandson? I'd ask carefully. Fine, Mom. Growing. And you? How's work? Everything's fine. Busy. I have to go. 3-minute conversations. That's all that remained of us. Meanwhile, Vanessa posted everything on social media. I saw the photos. Sam at the beach with Grandma Linda, Michael embracing Vanessa's parents at Christmas, family gatherings where I was never present. And I liked every photo. I commented, "So beautiful. Blessings," as if that brought me closer to them. Once, on Michael's birthday, I sent a cake to his office. Chocolate with strawberries, his favorite since childhood. It cost nearly $100 to ship from Chicago to Miami, but I wanted him to know I was thinking of him. 2 days later, he sent a text. "Thanks, Ma." 2 words. I replied, "I love you, son. I hope you had a beautiful day." He never answered, but I kept trying. Because that's what mothers do, isn't it? We keep loving even when ignored. We keep calling even when they don't answer. We keep giving even when we never receive. 2 Christmases ago, I decided to make one last effort. I saved for months and bought plane tickets to Miami. 3 days, that's all. I didn't want to impose. I called Michael to let him know. "Son, I bought tickets to visit you for Christmas. Just 3 days. I want to see Sam." Long silence. "Mom, this year is going to be complicated." "Why, son? It's only 3 days." "It's just, Vanessa, she has plans with her family, and the house is small, and I can stay in a hotel. Son, I just want to see you all." Another silence. "Let me talk to Vanessa, and I'll let you know." He never let me know. The tickets expired. I spent that Christmas alone, staring at the photograph of Michael at 6, wondering where that boy had gone, the one who hugged me and called me his favorite mom. But even then, I didn't give up. I sent Sam gifts every month, clothes, toys, books. Vanessa received them and sent Kurt texts. Never a photo of Sam using them. Never a video call, so I could watch him open the gifts. My friends told me, "Sarah, why do you keep insisting? That boy doesn't value you." "He's my son." I'd reply, "Sons go through phases. He'll come around." But he didn't come around. And I just kept shrinking. I stopped calling as much. I stopped asking. I stopped sending gifts that nobody acknowledged. I became a shadow in my own son's life, waiting for crumbs of his attention. That's why when I heard about Sam's birthday, something awakened in me. A small voice said, "Go. Do it for yourself. Don't wait for an invitation. That's never coming." I bought that bus ticket, 12 hours on the road. I wrapped that photo album with all the love I'd saved up, and I went, still believing that if he saw me, if he looked me in the eyes, he would remember. He would remember all those nights I stayed awake caring for him when he was sick. He would remember the sacrifices. He would remember that I was his mother. But when he opened that door and said, "Mom, what are you doing here?" When he asked me to leave while Vanessa screamed. When I heard that door close, I knew the truth. It wasn't a phase. He wasn't going to change. My son had chosen, and I was not his choice. I returned to Chicago. I put that photograph in a drawer. I couldn't look at it anymore without feeling pain. Then, a week later, the phone rang at 2 a.m. "Mom, I need $50,000. It's urgent." There he was again, seeking me only when he needed something. And I, sitting in the darkness of my room, understood something fundamental. A mother's love shouldn't function like an ATM. It shouldn't be something you only access when you need money or help. Love should be reciprocity, respect, presence. And I no longer had any of that for my son. So I took a deep breath and said those 5 words. Mom, please, I need that money. It's life or death. His voice was desperate, broken, like when he was a boy and came crying because he'd fallen off his bike. But he wasn't a boy anymore. He was a 30-year-old man who had shut the door in my face just 1 week ago. Life or death? I asked, maintaining my composure. Explain it to me, Michael. It's complicated. Vanessa and I have problems. Financial problems. We invested in a business that failed. We're being sued. If we don't pay within 3 days, we're going to lose the house. The house. That house I wasn't allowed to enter on my grandson's birthday. Why don't you ask the bank for a loan? I already tried. They rejected us. Mom, please. Only you can help us. You know, if I had another option, I wouldn't be calling you. If I had another option. Those words lodged in my chest like thorns. So I'm your last option, son. Not your mother. Not the person who raised you alone, who worked double shifts to give you an education. I'm just your last resort when everyone else said no. Mom, it's not like that. Did you call Vanessa's parents? They have money. I've seen the photos, the trips, the restaurants. Silence. They already helped us last year. We can't ask them for more. But you can ask me, even though you humiliated me a week ago. Even though you wouldn't let me see my grandson. Mom, I'm sorry. Really. Vanessa was upset about something else. I'm sorry, but right now, I need you to help me. We're family. We're family. I got out of bed and walked to the window. Outside, Chicago slept. The streets lay empty. I thought about that $50,000, half of everything I'd saved over 30 years of work and sacrifice. What about Vanessa? I asked, does she know you're calling me? Another silence. No, she's asleep. So you're calling me behind her back. Mom, please don't make this complicated. Yes or no? Are you going to help me or not? And there it was, the naked truth. He wasn't calling to apologize. He wasn't calling because he missed me. He wasn't calling because he finally understood the pain he'd caused. He was calling because he needed money. I took a deep breath. I looked back at my room, where that photo of him at 6 lay hidden in a drawer. The boy who'd promised to take care of me when he grew up. The boy who no longer existed. Michael, I said with a voice that was no longer pleading or hurt or submissive. Do you remember your wedding? What? Mom, what are you talking about? Your wedding. I gave you $20,000, all my savings at the time, so you could start your life with Vanessa. Yeah, Mom, and I thanked you for it. You sat me in the 3rd row. You danced with me for 2 minutes. And Vanessa introduced me as the woman from the little school in Chicago. Mom, that was years ago. Why are you bringing that up now? Because I need you to understand something, son. For 7 years, I've given you everything without asking for anything in return. Calls you don't answer. Gifts nobody acknowledges. Christmases you cancel. And when I finally gathered the courage to come see you, you threw me out of your house. Mom, I'm not finished. Now you come asking me for $50,000, half of everything I own, and you don't even have the courage to tell your wife you're calling me. Mom, please, I promise this time will be different. When I get through this, things will change. I swear. The promises of a desperate son. The same promises I'd heard for years. Did you know I still have the photo album I brought for Sam? It never reached his hands. I brought it back in my suitcase. I spent months making it. Photos of you as a child, photos of us, our history. I thought maybe my grandson would know who his grandmother is. Mom, we can talk about that later. Right now, I need an answer. Yes or no? Yes or no? As if my love, my sacrifice, my pain could all be reduced to 2 options. Son, I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to listen closely. Are you going to help me? I've spent my whole life helping you. Now it's time for you to learn something. What? What am I going to learn, Mom? That my own mother turns her back on me when I need her most? No, son. You're going to learn that actions have consequences. That you reap what you sow. That respect isn't begged for, it's earned. So you're not going to help me? His voice sounded incredulous, as if he couldn't believe what he was hearing. Then, looking out that window, feeling the weight of 30 years of unrequited love, I said those 5 words, the same 5 words that would change everything. 5 words my son never expected to hear from my mouth. Reap what you sow, son. 5 words. Just 5. But I felt the air between us split in two. What? His voice dropped to a whisper. What did you say? I said, reap what you sow. Are you telling me no? I'm telling you that for 30 years, I sowed love in you. And for the last 7 years, I've only reaped neglect. Now it's your turn to reap, son. The silence on the other end was so profound, I could hear my own heartbeat. 1 second. 2, 3, 10, 20. I can't believe this, he finally said, his voice no longer pleading but cold hard. I can't believe my own mother is doing this to me. I'm doing this to you? Something snapped inside me. Me, Michael? I'm the one doing something to you. I'm going to lose my house. My son is going to be on the street. And you're hitting me with calendar phrases. Your son, my grandson, the child you wouldn't let me see on his birthday. That was different. Vanessa was upset. She's always upset. And you always choose her. Always. So now face the consequences of your choices. You are He stopped, breathing hard. When he spoke again, his voice trembled with contained rage. All my life you told me a mother is always there for her children. Always. No conditions. That's what you taught me. And I was there. Always. But you, son, were you there for me? When was the last time you asked how I was? When was the last time you called without needing something? I don't have time for this. I need that money now. No. That word. So short, so simple, so liberating. No, he repeated, as if he didn't understand the meaning. Just like that. No. Then let's be clear, Mom. If you don't help me now, don't look for me again. Don't call again. Don't send gifts that nobody wants. We're done. My heart stopped. Those words were the ultimate threat. Him or nothing. But instead of feeling fear, I felt something strange. I felt peace. It's okay, son, I said with a calmness that surprised even me. If that's the price of my dignity, I'll pay it. What? I accept. If our relationship depended on how much money I could give you, then we never had a real relationship. So go ahead. End it. You're crazy. You were always dramatic. But this is... You know what, Michael? For 30 years, I've carried the guilt of your father abandoning us. I thought if I gave you everything, if I loved you double, if I filled that void, you would never feel that pain. Don't bring my father into this. But I was wrong. I didn't make you stronger. I made you dependent. I taught you that Mom would always be there to rescue you, to give you what you needed and ask for nothing in return. And so I raised a man who believes love is something you take but never give. You don't know anything about me. I know that I closed every door in my life so you could open yours. I know I worked until exhaustion so you wouldn't know poverty. I know I stayed alone every Christmas so I wouldn't inconvenience your new life. That's what I know. If you sacrifice so much, why are you throwing it in my face now? I'm not throwing it in your face, son. I'm just telling you that I'm done giving without even getting respect in return. I'm done begging for crumbs of your attention. I'm done being invisible in your life until you need money. This is unbelievable. You know what? Vanessa was right about you. Those words cut like knives. What did Vanessa say about me? That you were manipulative. That you always played the victim. That you used guilt to control me. And she was right. This is all just manipulation too. For what, Michael? Tell me. What would I gain from this? Silence. Vanessa says you want to separate me from her. That you never liked her. That you've always tried to sabotage our marriage. I sat on the edge of my bed, legs shaking, not from fear, but from indignation, from pain, from that brutal clarity that comes when you finally see the truth. Michael, listen to me closely because I'm only going to say this once. I don't want to separate you. I don't sabotage anything. I just want to be part of your life. to be a grandmother to my grandson, to have a relationship with you. That was all. But Vanessa decided I was a threat. And you let her decide for you. She is my wife. And I am your mother. Why does that mean less? Because she's here with me every day. Because she's my family now. I am your family too. Or I was. Mom, no. We're done. You said if I didn't help you, not to look for you again. Fine. I won't. But I want you to know something. This isn't revenge. It's not punishment. It's simply letting go. Letting go of someone who let go of me a long time ago. I can't believe you're this selfish. Selfish. I almost laughed. Son, I've spent my entire life being selfless, giving you everything, putting you first. This is the first time in 30 years that I'm choosing myself. And if that's selfish, then yes, I am selfish. You're going to regret this. No, son, I've already regretted many things. Regretted staying silent when I should have spoken. Regretted begging when I should have walked away. Regretted giving when I should have set boundaries. But I won't regret this. When I lose my house, when my son suffers, it will be your fault. Those words try to hurt me, try to make me doubt, try to activate that maternal guilt I'd carried my whole life. But something had changed in me that night. No, Michael, it's not my fault. It's yours. You made bad investments. You decided to live beyond your means. You chose not to ask for help until it was too late. I have nothing to do with your decisions, and I will no longer carry the consequences for them. You, his voice broke. You are a bad mother. And there it was, the final stab. For a second, those words tore me apart. My entire life, I'd been a mother. It was my identity, my purpose. And my son was telling me I was bad at the only thing I'd ever tried to be good at. But then I remembered. I remembered the sleepless nights when he was sick. The meals I skipped so he could have more. The dreams I abandoned to pay for his college. The tears I swallowed so he could smile. If being a good mother means letting myself be disrespected, then yes, Michael, I'm a bad mother. And I'm at peace with that. Don't call me again. I won't. Really? You're just going to let it end like this? You ended this 7 years ago, son. I'm just accepting what you decided a long time ago. Goodbye, Mom. Goodbye, Michael. I hung up the phone and sat there in the darkness of my room, phone still in my hand. I didn't cry. I expected to cry. I expected to feel that sharp pain I always felt when he pulled away from me. But it didn't come. Instead, I felt something different, something I hadn't felt in years. I felt lightness, like I'd dropped a weight I'd been carrying so long I'd forgotten what it felt like to walk without it. I stood up and walked to my closet. I pulled out the drawer where I'd hidden the photo of Michael at 6. I looked at it in the moonlight streaming through my window. That beautiful boy. The boy who hugged me and told me I was his favorite mom. The boy who carried my grocery bags and promised me a big house. That boy didn't exist anymore. And that was okay. I kissed the photograph and placed it in a box in the back of the closet. I didn't throw it away. I never could, but I didn't need to see it every day anymore. I didn't need to remind myself who he was. I needed to remember who I was. Sarah Thompson, 55 years old. Teacher, woman, mother, yes, but also something more. Someone who was worth more than crumbs. Someone who deserved respect. Someone who had finally learned to say no. That night, I slept deeply for the first time in years. I didn't know what would come next. I didn't know if my son would come back. I didn't know if I would ever truly know my grandson. But I knew one thing for certain. I was done begging for love. I was done begging for attention. I was no longer going to be invisible in anyone's life. I had reclaimed something I'd lost a long time ago. My dignity. The days following that call were strange. I woke up every morning expecting to feel that familiar pain in my chest, that emptiness that had always been there since Michael distanced himself from me. But instead, there was something different. It wasn't happiness. It wasn't sadness either. It was a kind of calm, like after a storm ends and the air smells different. I continued my routine. I woke at 6 a.m., made my coffee, looked out the window at the streets of Chicago waking up. I went to school, taught my classes, came home. But something in me had changed. I walked taller. I spoke more clearly. I smiled differently. My co-workers noticed. "Sarah, you look good." Emily, my friend and colleague of 30 years, told me. "Different. What happened?" "Nothing," I replied. "I just let go of something that wasn't for me anymore." She looked at me with those wise eyes that only women who have lived deeply possess. "It was your son, wasn't it?" I nodded. "Do you want to talk about it?" "Maybe someday. Right now, I just want to live." And that's what I did. For the first time in years, I lived for myself. But 3 days after that call, things started to get complicated. Vanessa called me. I saw her name on my phone screen, and my first instinct was not to answer. But something told me I had to, that I needed to close this chapter completely. "Hello," I answered. "Sarah." Her voice was ice cold. "I need to talk to you." "Hello, Vanessa. How are you?" "How am I?" "I'm furious." "Do you know what you've just done?" "I have an idea." "You refuse to give your own son money, your own family. Do you know we're going to lose our house? Do you know that Sam is going to suffer because of your selfishness?" I took a deep breath. The old Sarah would have started apologizing, explaining, justifying. But that Sarah didn't exist anymore. "Vanessa, did Michael tell you why I said no?" "He told me you refused to help him when he needed you most, that you told him to reap what he sowed." "Very nice of you, by the way. Did he tell you what happened 2 weeks ago at Sam's birthday?" Silence. That was a misunderstanding." "It wasn't a misunderstanding, Vanessa. You screamed that either I left or you did. And my son chose. He shut the door in my face after I traveled 12 hours to see my grandson. So he called me asking for money a week later. I decided that was enough. You're his mother. Mothers are supposed to forgive. And sons are supposed to respect. But that didn't happen, did it?" "Look, Sarah." Her tone changed, softened artificially. "I know we've had our differences, and I'm sorry, really, but this is bigger than our personal problems. This is about Sam, your grandson. Are you really going to let him suffer?" And there it was, the card I knew they would play. The child, my grandson, the guilt. "Vanessa, if you're in financial trouble, there are many options. You can sell the car. You can move to a smaller house. You can ask your parents for help, who I understand have more resources than I do. But I will not be the bank you only come to when everyone else has told you no. I can't believe how heartless you are." "I'm not heartless. I'm a woman who finally understood her worth. Michael was right. You are manipulative, always playing the victim. If that makes you feel better, think that. But the answer is still no. Then I hope you can live with this on your conscience. When your grandson is sleeping on the street, remember it was your fault. Vanessa, my grandson is not going to sleep on the street. You two are going to solve this like adults. You're going to make tough decisions. You're going to learn. And maybe, just maybe, you're going to grow up. That's what I wish for my son." "Go to hell, Sarah." She hung up. I stared at the phone. I expected to feel bad. I expected guilt to eat me alive. But it didn't, because I knew something they didn't understand yet. Helping them with that money wouldn't have solved anything. It would have only delayed the inevitable. It would have only taught them that there would always be someone to rescue them from their bad decisions. And I couldn't be that person anymore. A week later, I received a text message from Michael. It just said, "We lost a house. Hope you're happy." Those words tried to plant guilt in me. But I had already learned something fundamental. I was not responsible for my adult son's decisions. I replied, "I'm sorry you're going through this. I wish you the best." There was no response. Over the next few days, social media filled with photos of Michael and Vanessa moving. Vanessa's parents appeared in the images, helping them pack. There was a photo of Sam saying goodbye to his house with tears in his eyes. That photo hurt me. It hurt me like nothing else.